I'm Angie Fenimore, and I'm the author of Beyond the Darkness, and I'm answering a question for Nick in Virginia. He wants to know what happens to people who commit suicide and go to the dark realm where I went, and do they eventually meet God? Do our prayers make a difference? And do they come to an understanding of what they did and that it's wrong? Are they eventually reincarnated? What happens to them? So first I want to say that I don't know what happens to anybody else who commits suicide. I can speak to my own experience. I do know that some of those kids that at the very beginning of my experience when I was lined up with those teenagers, I know that they didn't go where I went. And I do have extraordinary experiences when I go stay places that are haunted. They come to me, they know that I can see them, they know I can feel them. And across the board what happens is they play their life out through me. So I catch glimpses of it. Like, see, this is what my life was like. And these are obviously disembodied spirits who are trapped where they are. And I suspect where I went that we were all trapped in a moment. Everyone around me was talking about if only you had done this, I wouldn't, blah, blah, blah. And they weren't connected to each other at all. So I suspect that they were in a realm where they were, between dimensions, and that they were actually what you and I might consider haunting. And I also think that it's absolutely ridiculous that God would come and snatch me out of there and nobody else. I do believe that they are also being ministered to. And once they get to a point where they can hear God's voice, they too are done. Once they come to a place where they realize the impact of their decision on other people. And it's so far-reaching because it's not just the people in your life, it's those people that are impacted by your death and then go out in the world and then they impact others for not such divine purpose, or they don't do the things that they were meant to do. So for example, one of the people that I saw in my near-death experience was my son, my oldest boy. And he was 5 years old at the time, and I saw his life go all the way up to about 20 years old. And what I saw was that he was rendered completely incapable of doing the things that he was meant to do here in this life by virtue of his mother ending her life. And so I would be responsible not only for my son's heartbreak and the breakdown in his life, but also all those people that he was meant to impact for good. And then all those people who he was meant to impact for good, who would go out and impact other people for good. And you should know this boy is now going to nursing school. He's meant to do great things in this world. And I would be responsible for all of that lack of good that would happen in the world by virtue of my son being disabled by what I did. So my understanding was that I was there in order to get the impact of my actions on other people, period. It's not a punishment. It's not, oh, now you're bad and you go here. It's a complete natural ordering of things. Light and darkness cannot exist in the same space. And when you're at a place where you're willing to take your life, you are not connected to your fellow human beings. You are not connected to the people that love you. You're not connected to God, and you're not connected to your purpose, or you wouldn't do that. So you're radiating a level of darkness, not like a bad thing. It's just disempowering, disabling, robs you of the ability to connect up to your divine purpose here. So that is my understanding. That's my interpretation, and it's based on what I actually experienced. As far as whether or not they're reincarnated, I personally did not experience reincarnation. I am not one to throw a lid on anything. I'll be the first to tell you, I do not know. I don't know the answer to that. I didn't experience that. I didn't see that. And I don't necessarily believe that we are reincarnated, but, if we are, fabulous, great. I'll get on that horse and ride it. No problem. So do our prayers make a difference? Yes, they do. that's the first thing that I do is I pray for these people. I pray for people that I know that have committed suicide. I pray for the people that I don't know. I pray for, just in general, for these people on the other side in that dark realm. But it's more than that. They want to be gotten. They want to have their experience appreciated and understood. And so you can forgive them as well. That helps facilitate that when you can appreciate that. And I would talk to them and tell them you forgive them and come from their point of view. It helps to release the bonds, the self-imposed bonds there, and helps them to be able to experience light such that they can see the gravity of what they've done. They can see the impact of what they've done. And once they have reached a point where they have really gotten it, they have gotten there, what their actions have done in the world, they're up and out of there. And that's all my understanding of it. Feel free to send me an email at Angie@angiefenimore.com. If you have questions, I am happy to answer them.